1111. Why are we all so obsessed about when we see the numbers 1111? Many of you see 1111 on the clock, 11 past 11, and sometimes 11 seconds past that. So what's the big deal? So to understand the fascination with 1111, let's just look at what the number is. The dominant numerical signature is 1. So let's just start off with, what does 1 mean? Well, the number 1 to me represents someone who's like a leader, someone who's in authority, power. So it's leadership, it's sovereignty. So when the number 1 appears as an 11, 1 and a 1, it's been amplified. So that quality of leadership, authority, power is repeated. And then if another 1 appears like 111, 111, it's even more powerful. And 111 has got to do with the sum of the magic square of 6 by 6, all the columns and rows add up to 111. And so there's something mystical about it. And so by seeing it on the clock, I think what we have to do when you see 1111, I think sometimes you just need to stop and investigate the moment. Ask yourself, what was I thinking when I saw the clock? It said 1111, or I'm going through an encyclopedia, I'm on page 111 or 1000, 1111. We need to stop and observe the moment. So it's kind of a trigger point. And I think what it's also saying is that when you stop and investigate your thoughts, whatever you're doing at 1111, if you're having, say, a negative thought, maybe it's telling you also to pay attention, to look deeper inside of who you really are. And so I would say that 1111 is about being the creator, being more authentic and critical of yourself. Sometimes I think also at 1111, and if you're with some people, I would ask yourself, look at the people who you are with at that time of 1111. Just question the authenticity of the people are you with. Are they positive, great influences on your life? Are they draining you? So maybe it's a sign to just take observation of the moment. If we want to get a little bit more cosmic, if it's 1111 and there's no one there, but you could be contacted by someone who's passed away, someone on the other side. So that there's many, many meanings. I'm just giving you the possibilities of what 1111 invokes. And on a more cosmic level, 11 to me, 11 could be like a portal, because if we think of this like the number 1, getting sucked in towards a central core, about going back to source, going back to 1, going back to yourself. This is what we call a portal or a wormhole, a doorway, because there was a woman called Solara who wrote about 1111, a book called Doorway to the Inside, like inside of the doorway, so it was called. So there was people who've written books about it. What's important too is there was an important date in history called the Armistice Day. Most of you know that at the end of World War One, but around 1918, so at the treaty for peace after World War One, in Paris there was an agreement that was signed on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. So it's not just 11/11, it's 11/11/11. 11 a.m., 11th day of the 11th month was when the world came to agree with peace. So they also found that on the 11th of the 11th, 2011, so if we drop the 20 in 2011 in this century, we've got 11th of the 11th of the 11th. They found that many marriages occurred on that date as well. So there was this huge amount of people wanting to celebrate their marriage and union by tying the knot on a symbolic day that represented oneness, one. Unfortunately, and there was also some amazing people. There was a man called Uri Geller. If I had a spoon here, I'd be able to bend it in front of your eyes, because we can talk to the spoon and make it bend. So the guy called Uri Geller from Israel, he was born around 1946. He first fascinated the world with metaphysical powers using his mind. He didn't even bend the spoon with his hands. He just used his gaze to bend the spoon, to rearrange the atoms of the metal, and he took the world by storm. So it was actually Uri Geller who first suggested that the number 11 had some importance or significance. And he was the first one to actually coin 1111. So everything I've just said now, I would say was impulsed by our fascination with psychic powers. Maybe that's what this is all about. 1111 was first spoken about someone who had magnificent psychic powers. So really, it could be all about waking up, you know, claim your psychic powers, not as in transcendental, but psychic as in natural, powerful authenticity. So when we're talking about 1 or 11, we're talking about like this crystal is a vertical line of power. So when we're holding this, we're holding to our oneness. And 1111 to me is also about, we're talking about a portal. We can take a cube, a solid shape, but it has the ability to open up and to transform, to be transmogrified. And now it's shape-shifted into a completely different other shape, which has 12 around the 1. So there's a central 1 in the middle that 12 can be glued around. So 1111 conjures many things. And just to conclude, because it's such a powerful number, many things in sacred geometry have been powerful, like the spiral, the golden spiral, the 5-pointed star. These are magical symbols, but a lot of them have been demonized in a way, or reduced to something insignificant. So there's currently a movie that I didn't know about. As I was doing this research, I found there's a movie called The Gate, and The Gate's subtitle says evil has a new number, and the dominant image is 1111. So I'm not saying that you go and watch The Gate, because we don't want to be attracted to that, but just be aware that all these things that are powerful have forces against them to take you away from your power. So another reference to 4 1s, you know, like when you're playing poker, 3 aces win, but if you had 4 aces, that's probably the most powerful combination, besides I think a royal flush in poker, when everything's in natural order, like 10, jack, queen, king, and the ace, that's the royal flush, but they're all the same suit, like of diamonds and heart. But 4 aces in poker is absolutely dominant in its power. And also, just a final reference or anecdote is that when my life's work's been on the Fibonacci sequence, so for those of you who knows the Fibonacci sequence, like 3, 5, 8, 13, you keep adding the previous number. There's a certain wheel of 60 inside the Fibonacci sequence. There's certain patterns based on 24, 108, they're all holy numbers, but there's also a 60 code. And inside the 60 code, we can take certain numbers, and all the opposite numbers of 4 digits add up to 1,111. It's a complete matrix that vibrates at 1111. So this is the stuff that we can talk about later in our work. But I just wanted to conclude that if you see 1111, I think what it's telling you to take note of the moment. It's about unity consciousness. It's about us coming into our own power. And ultimately, 1111 is about waking up.